It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. You can email us as well, randykabc@gmail.com. I tried to read and respond to every email that I get, randykabc@gmail.com. Burglary stories are very common in Southern California. Burglaries of chain restaurants are very common in Southern California. But something happened last week that is pretty wild. You had 3 different locations of the same chain all hit on the same night. Sounds like an inside job to me. Let's find out what happened here when 3 different San Fernando Valley Maria's Italian kitchens got hit in the same night. For more, here's Fox 11.
Only on Fox 11, thieves bust their way into a local restaurant in one of 3 burglaries that happened in less than an hour. All of the break-ins targeting the same popular Southern California Italian food chain.
And I don't think they were stealing pasta.
Good evening. Welcome to Fox 7 News at 5 on Fox 11 and Fox 11 Plus. I'm Alex Michelson.
And I'm Christine Devine. Only on Fox 11, the owners of Maria's Italian Kitchen are speaking out. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez is live in Woodland Hills with more on these quick-hitting burglars. Christina.
You know, and the manager was telling me that she gets here at 3 in the morning answering to the alarm call, and she gets a call saying, well, the alarm's going off. And she's telling the company, yeah, I'm here. They're saying, no, the one in Encino.
Oh, my.
They hit the 3 of them back to back, and they knew exactly what they were going for. Take a look at this. Burglars taking the safe at one of Maria's Italian kitchens. And by the time the manager responds to the Woodland Hills location, the alarm in Encino is going off. Burglars breaking in and taking the safe.
It was like 15 minutes between, or 10.
Wait, you have a location in Woodland Hills and Encino? That's like right next to each other.
It was like 15 minutes between, or 10 minutes between. Then I get another call. They're in Sherman Oaks.
So they
Wait
hit
a second.
all 3.
See, this is proving my theory that if you drive long enough on Ventura Boulevard, the entire city just keeps repeating itself. There's a Maria's Italian Kitchen in Sherman Oaks and Encino and Woodland Hills. I mean, nothing wrong with Maria's Italian Kitchen. They used to bring that into when I used to call screen for Meryl Schindler at KLSX 16, 17 years ago. It's good stuff, but maybe you want to spread those locations out more. Okay, not part of the story. Let's keep going.
Then I get another call. They're in Sherman Oaks.
So they hit all 3 places.
All 3
of Maria's Italian kitchens were hit with...
Unless you have some very specific burglars that know that kind of story is going to make the news, this seems like you've got some disgruntled employees that knew what to do and where to go.
Within less than an hour. That's the owner of Maria's Kitchens sharing surveillance video of suspects backing up this black vehicle at the locations, breaking doors, dislodging safes at 2 of them, carrying the safes off to the waiting vehicles. The damage...
How safe is a safe if you can lift it with your hands?
The damage to offices and doors more...
Don't you want to bolt that thing to the ground? I guess, you know what, at that point, these people are determined they're going to get it.
The damage to offices and doors more than the cash kept in those safes. The owner saying...
That's always part of the story, too. For as much, money that you're losing from the cash that's stolen... The broken windows, the broken doors, the insurance rates that go up or drop you. That's what was going on with Casa Vega because of the burglaries that they've had to deal with, and just the ones in the surrounding area in that shopping center in Sherman Oaks. The cost of a break-in goes well beyond whatever was stolen.
The owner saying she'd prefer to go cashless, except... The city council, however, now wants to propose a motion to ban cashless businesses. As explained by council member Heather Hutt during Fox 11 News at 6, she's behind the motion under consideration.
This is really about equity and equality.
Oh, boy. Heather Hutt, math whiz.
This is really about equity and equality. So many people are left out of the economics in the city of Los Angeles.
Anyone that's unhoused.
In fact, remember when Heather Hutt went on Fox 11 to do some very fun math about why exactly we can't allow places to go cashless, even though it's a vulnerability and people are getting broken into, because it would not be fair to the unbanked and the underbanked.
I have some figures here that say FDIC says that 7.4% of all California households are unbanked and underbanked, and 17% of them are households that are single parent unbanked. That's about a quarter of California.
No, it's not. Do your math again.
And gets government assistance, gets them on a card. Or can purchase prepaid cards, she shows us, insisting that being cashless will help slow a wave of crime that is threatening the existence of businesses.
You see what they're doing at some ballparks now where they won't take your cash, but there's a little machine where you can turn your cash into a little card for a fee, of course.
And the communities they're in. This restaurant alone is over 50 employees, and many have been with us for over 20 years. We need cashless to secure the businesses.
Well, too bad, because Heather Hutt said no.
It's not available.
It's not equitable.
And a lot of businesses actually went cashless during COVID, and now they're kind of holding off and waiting to make a decision until this motion goes to the full vote, which is expected to be possibly this summer. The restaurants are open even after the break-ins.
So there you go. A wild break-in of 3 different Maria's Italian kitchens in one night. And they stole some money. But really, the damage was insane. But you heard the plea of the restaurant owner, and it's the plea of a lot of different business owners. When we are in Los Angeles County and we have laws that enable criminals and we have a district attorney that doesn't want to do anything about things like break-ins or stealing.
So we're mindful of all these things, but
well, then you feel like there's nothing you can really do. You've just got to sit there and take it. I remember the first time this topic got discussed was about 1.5 years ago at one of my favorite places in Sherman Oaks, Home State. They recently opened a location right off of Ventura Boulevard, and it's around Fulton. It's pretty close to Casa Vega, actually. And it is authentic breakfast tacos. And I've known about them for a decade since they opened the first one over in the Los Feliz area. And my wife and I go there every once in a while. And one day, I'm coming in to do the John Phillips Show, and I see that Home State in Sherman Oaks has made the news. Why? Because in their first year of operation, they were broken into, I believe, 8 times. 8 times in a year. And this is Ventura Boulevard. This is supposed to be the nice part of town, fancy Sherman Oaks. You got Casa Vega. You got Bakari. Oh, y'all ever been to Bakari? That place is a good time. And you've got the local peasant there. This is supposed to be the classy, fun part of town. 8 break-ins in one night. So Home State said, screw it. We will not accept cash. They have signs out there. They're still doing it to this day because LA still isn't enforcing the cashless ban. But they will take your card. They'll take your Venmo. They'll take your Apple Pay. But they don't want cash because cash is a liability. Now, if you try to break in, the only thing you're going to be able to steal is tortillas because I believe they take home the iPads as well. That's another thing that's going on. But if that's the case, where we're in a situation where the criminals are not going to be punished, so this behavior is going to keep happening over and over again, why shouldn't the restaurateur have every option to protect themselves available to them? They've got security. That's not working. They have realized the only thing they can do is advertise to the criminals, you won't get anything here. I don't have it. Now, some criminals might not believe them and break in anyway, but I understand some of the concern around places going cashless, not accepting cash, moving to a digital economy. But personally, I don't like cash. I don't like carrying cash. Cash is dirty. I also am a credit card nut. I've got an 800 credit score right now, and I like getting points. And I don't get any points when I pay for things with cash. Not as fun for me. And gosh, can I tell you the amount of times where I'd wake up early on a Sunday morning to go to the farmer's market. But of course, my favorite vendors at the farmer's market don't take cards, so I got to go to the bank and get cash. And I would say 4 out of every 5 times I would go to the Bank of America on White Oak and Saticoy, the ATM just wouldn't work. Wouldn't be spitting out cash, wouldn't be open. It'd been vandalized many times. Maybe that was the victim of a break-in. So then I'd have to go all the way to Ralph's, and then I'd have to go to Ralph's and buy something so I can use their cash back on their self-checkout and then have to pay a fee. It just, all of it irritated me. So I really don't like to carry cash, and I don't mind. I really don't mind if places don't want to take cash. The argument that it's not equitable, that bothers me. Heather Hutt, Math Whiz.
I have some figures here that say FDIC says that 7.4% of all California households are unbanked and underbanked.
Okay, but shouldn't that be something that you're focused on instead of banning restaurants from going cashless? If you've got poor people that are unbanked, if you've got neighborhoods where banks don't want to be in, or people are afraid of using the banking system, well, why don't you do something about that instead of punishing the restaurants, instead of punishing the stores that are getting victimized because you support people like Gascon that don't want to put people in prison?
And 17% of them are households that are single parent unbanked. That's about a quarter of California.
Yeah, I still don't understand where she's getting those numbers. But also, let's not forget, we already have a system where the poor and the people who are in the poverty line and the people who are having a hard time getting by, we offer, what do we offer them? Plastic. We don't give them cash when you sign up for CalFresh or SNAP or whatever you want to call it. We give them a card. We give them an EBT card that is allowed to be used not just at grocery stores, not just at farmers markets. It's allowed to be used at the drive-thru. It's allowed to be used to order pizza and so many other things. You remember at one point, people figured out that the EBT cards had a cash benefit, that people were withdrawing and then using that cash to go to strip clubs? Oh, I remember those days. But the argument that the poor, unfortunate souls can't get a breakfast taco because they only have cash, well, those people we're supposed to be giving out cards to. And if you're not being effective enough in getting people into those programs, that's on you. But again, maybe you have a different opinion on this. Maybe you think that it's not a good idea for places to go cashless. Maybe you do support it. I'd like to hear from you at 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. You heard the plea from the owner of 3 different locations of Maria's Italian Kitchen. They were burglarized in one night. They think that they would get burglarized less if they went cashless, if there was no money to be stolen from the Maria's Italian Kitchen. Should restaurants be allowed to go cashless in Los Angeles? The city of Los Angeles says no. I say yes, but I'd love to know what you think. Do you think it's okay for restaurants to go cashless in California? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. I want to talk to you, 800-222-KABC. Should it be okay for restaurants to go cashless? Yes or no? 800-222-KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. The owner of 3 different locations of Maria's Italian Kitchens got burglarized in the same night. All 3 locations got the safe stolen, the cash stolen. The owner would love to go cashless. They say that makes them a target and they would get broken into less if they were able to not carry cash. However, the LA City Council thinks that that's not equitable and that's not fair to the poor, unfortunate souls that don't have credit cards or debit cards, or I guess even EBT cards, and they say we're going to have an ordinance where you're not allowed to go cashless. How do you feel about this? Should restaurants, if they want to, be able to go cashless? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. I want to hear from you. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you hate the idea? Do you love cash? 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Heath and Artesia. Heath, hello.
Hi. So I think they should be required to take cash, not because it's equitable, but because the government is trying to get us eventually to go all cashless. They want to be able to monitor all of our transactions. And if we let businesses only take EBT and only take credit cards and only take Venmo, they're going to be able to monitor our transactions quicker. And so that's the reason I'm against going cashless, not allowing or not require. That's why I'm against the going cashless. But I understand why the restaurants want to go cashless for safety purposes.
Yeah, they think that it makes them a target, but you have a totally valid point. Totally understand, Heath. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. By the way, you know what's funny is in this world where we all want to keep our transactions private, how many people post on Instagram every single time they buy anything? I do that sometimes too, so I'm also making fun of myself. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Hector in Southgate. Hector, hello.
Yes, sir, thank you. Yes, I agree with the previous caller, Heath. Well, I believe also that that's their way of monitoring us, keeping an eye on our financial situation, our spending, and another form of control. I feel restaurants should be able to go cashless if they want to, but also it's not going to deter crime anyway. They're still going to break in. They can, clean out the place, steal the furniture, everything, So, and until they, get rid of Prop 47, and to me it's still too weak, in November. It should be harsher. Until they start clamping down on crime and, bringing back three strikes you're out, three-strike rule, the law, it's going to continue.
No, we definitely got to get tougher, and that's definitely going to be at least a step in the right direction. If that passes in November, we dump Gascon in November, at least there'll be a message to the criminals that you can't go robbing with impunity. Hector, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. And you know what? Hector does have a really good point. Okay, you might not carry cash, but if you're a restaurant, you might have some very expensive wine bottles. If you're a Mexican restaurant, you might have some Clase Azul. That's $150 a pop. Is there a black market for Clase Azul? I certainly hope not. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Carol in Camarillo. Carol, hello.
Hi, the politicians say it would be discriminating, but I don't understand why they never heard of prepaid debit cards.
You're totally right.
They say they can't get credit cards or checks.
But yeah, you can get a Visa cash card. You can get any gift card anywhere. And what's funny too? The same politicians that say it wouldn't be equitable are the same ones that say you can't go pay for your registration in person with cash at the DMV anymore. You got to go to one of those kiosks at the supermarket where you've got to use a credit card.
Yes. So that was all
Carol,
I wanted to say. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for calling in, Carol. Appreciate it. Tim in Hacienda Heights. Tim, hello.
Hi, this is actually Vince.
Hey, Vince in Hacienda Heights. How's it going?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good. I'm on my way home. I heard your report. I'm all in favor of cashless. I'd rather see a business like theirs go cashless than go out of business. My opinion is that most professional politicians have never owned a business. They don't know what it's like, and they don't know what profit and loss means. And loss means you go out of business. You put people out of work. I say go cashless.
There you go, Tim. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. It's time for you to weigh in. A owner of Maria's Italian Kitchen, 3 locations in the Valley, after getting burglarized all at the same time, they say they want to go cashless. The city of Los Angeles won't let them. Do you think it's okay for restaurants to go cashless in Southern California? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. 3 different locations, all in the Valley, of Maria's Italian Kitchens were burglarized. They stole the safes. They stole the cash. The owner of those restaurants would love to go cashless, but the city of Los Angeles is proposing an ordinance that would ban any establishment for going cashless because they say it's not equitable. A lot of strong opinions on both sides of this one. So how do you feel? Should restaurants be allowed to go cashless? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Dave in Whittier. Dave, hello.
Hey, Randy, this is con artistry at work by the city council. This is absolutely unfair. It's Sovietism. And let's connect something with this. And I've got a solution for the restaurant owners. If you give me I know you'll let me have a minute for that. But all these restaurant chains closing, Rubio's, I believe, Red Lobster, this is Sovietism. It's a result of Soviet Premier Gavin Newsom and his Politburo of the California one-party state rule of the Democrat Party. And so here's the solution, folks. Get your voice. Meet them on their turf. Money, and here's how to do it. Money message, okay? And you do that by creating a restaurant. A restaurant owner can create his own PAC. It's called an independent expenditure committee where he goes out and he raises money to get his message out to oppose these depraved imbeciles, Soviets, okay? And then how do you do that? You do that by filing for it, and you can raise money, do ads, and go at them, okay? Get restaurants, raise money, get contributions from restaurants, and tell them what you're doing. So
well, there we go, Dave. That sounds great. 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Pat in Rancho Santa Margarita. Pat, hello.
Yeah, hi. First off, I'm all for the, allowing people not to take cash. However, are they also going to dictate how much cash a vendor must have on hand in order to make change? What if somebody comes in with a $20 bill, wants to buy $12 worth of something, and the restaurant says, "Sure, we'll take cash. We can't give you any change." What are they going to do? Dictate how much cash and how much change everybody must have? Also, I worked at a liquor store. What we had was a floor safe. And the only person who had that access to that was the owner, and he wasn't there. So they would have to come in with a jackhammer every half hour. We would take money out of the bin and put it in this floor safe. So thieves would have to come in, jackhammer up the floor. They couldn't walk out with the safe. So there's a solution for the restaurants.
I think bigger, stronger safes is definitely a great idea. Pat, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Bill in Paramount. Bill, hello.
How you doing, Randy?
Doing great.
It's so hypocritical. Here you have all your sports stadiums, all the Knott's Berry Farm, Crypto, Anaheim Stadium. Everything is cashless. Why can't the restaurants do it?
Well, most of those locations that you talked about outside of Dodger Stadium aren't directly controlled by the city of Los Angeles. But you're right. That's totally a great point, is that you don't hear Heather Hunt complaining that they did that at Dodger Stadium. And if you want to buy an $18 beer, you've got to put your cash into a machine, and then they give you a card for that $18 beer. And if you wanted to make it a michelada, it's $7 on top of that. And yet, when a small business wants to do it, then it's not equitable.
That's right.
There you go, Bill. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Now, granted, it's been a couple of years since I've been to Dodger Stadium, but the last time I went to a Dodger game, it cost me like $19 for a michelada. And I was happy to have a michelada. I like me a little spice and tahini with my beer. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Morris in Toluca Lake. Morris, hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. I came back a few days ago from up north, flew in, but I had rented a car, and I had prepaid for the car rental with Thrifty. And then when I went to the counter, they wanted another credit card, even though I had prepaid in full almost $500. And they want another credit card, check all the ID. and there's nothing wrong with that. Going paying by credit only, where I was up north, and everybody took plastic, everybody. And the only cash I paid out was for the parking meters. I think it was a couple of dollars for parking meters. That was it. Everybody took plastic. And it's dangerous to go around with cash these days. I mean, there's too many guns out there, too many crazy people out there, and all they're looking is to rob you, and you have no backup from the police whatsoever. They wind up at Winchell's Donut and have their donuts and coffee, and that's about it. You have no backup. The crime's out there. Why go out with cash? So I recommend all the restaurants to take plastic only, and that's it.
There you go, Morris. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. You know, he does make an interesting point. What do you think would happen if you go to Hertz and you give them $250 in cash to rent that Kia Optima? They're going to say, go pound sand. We don't trust you. Give us you can't even rent a car with a debit card unless you have like $500 as an extra deposit on there. Credit cards are king, baby. And then you get them points. I love my points. I've barely used my points, but at some point I'm going to Europe for free. At some point. Let's go to Debbie in Marina Del Rey. Debbie, hello.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for taking my call. I think what would be equitable is for George Gascon to start prosecuting crime and getting these scumbags off the street. I think we can start there. And then it costs a business owner 2 to 4% of their profits. So now all of a sudden the restaurant prices have to go up because we're not prosecuting the criminals. So that's my 2 cents. It's America. Let the business owners choose.
There you go, Debbie. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. I don't think we're ever going to convince George Gascon to do his job. So the only thing you can do if you live in Los Angeles County is when you get your ballot in the mail on October 5th, that's right, you get it a month before the election day on November 5th, you fill it out that day, and I don't care what you write for anything else. And I am not endorsing anybody, but I would say if it was my ballot, I'd be voting for Nathan Hochman. That guy would actually do something about this. George Gascon, not so much. Let's go to James in Culver City. James, hello.
Hey, Randy. How you doing?
Doing great.
You know, I think these politicians there at the city council, they're a bunch of hypocrites. They're all scumbags. You know, they forget that we, the people, make the rules around here. You know, we just got to vote them out. Let the businessman decide what he wants to do. Cash or card, it's up to them. You're running a business. They're full of crap.
They are, James. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. And that's so important. We don't like our members of the city council, but we're the ones that put them there. And based on the participation rates in Los Angeles County, in the city of Los Angeles, we can get a better city council. It's going to take work. It's going to take somebody wanting to step up, which they should, because that is a damn high-paying job. $225,000 a year. But you can get somebody who's good at what they do. You get somebody who cares, who wants to do the right thing. Venice had the worst of the worst of the worst. They had the worst member of the city council in my lifetime, Mr. Mike Bonin. And Mike Bonin, after he decided that he knew he would not win because he was that unpopular, he had a hand-picked successor who did not win because Tracy Park, a smart, common sense individual, she organized. She got on that council. She might be the lone voice of sanity on that council, which isn't saying much, but if it could be done on the west side, it could be done anywhere. But the right people got to step up and people got to organize around it. There isn't that many people paying attention. It can be done. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. More of your calls coming up in minutes. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. If you'd like to email us, you could do so. randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. Chuck writes in and says, just because you accept cash at a restaurant doesn't mean you are forced to leave it there overnight. That is a great point. Although, if you decide at the end of the night that you're going to take a bag of cash to the bank deposit box, then you'll get mugged. There's no winning for anybody. Let's go to Bill in La Cañada. Bill, hello.
Hey, Randy, I know you'll find this shocking, but Heather Hutt knows even less about science than she does about math. Because Years ago, some TV station paid a lab to culture paper currency, and among the cocaine and DNA from various bodily fluids, they found massive amounts of E. coli bacteria from fecal matter. So I guess Heather Hutt apparently wants ethnic minorities at restaurants to die a painful, slow death from food poisoning.
There you go, Bill. Appreciate it. But you know what? He makes a great point, because if you think about going to a restaurant, you've had a good meal, you've had a few drinks, you're about to pay the bill. There's a certain activity in between you finishing your meal and paying the bill that involves the bathroom. And if the customer isn't washing their hands, guess what's on that money? Let's go to Brent in L.A. Brent, hello.
Hi, Randy. You know, how is it that only the wickedly woke, like the grotesque Gascon, always say that they want to be mindful, when in fact all they really want to be are malevolent Marxists? And to these monsters, individuality, freedom, and choice are somehow never equitable, diverse, or inclusive. I say real Americans say, if it is your business, it is your choice.
There you go. Always appreciate the alliteration from Brent in L.A. We'll take more of your calls next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. As a special present from me to you for listening to this show, how about this? 790 KABC welcomes Yachtly Crew, the nation's #1 yacht rock band, at the City National Grove of Anaheim on November 8th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, but right now, call in number 9 at 1-888-790-5222. Gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Nederlander Concerts. Good luck dialing. Let's go to Sandra in L.A. Sandra, hello.
Hello.
Hey.
I think the problem is that the thieves and burglars have no consequences, and I think it's time that whoever's in charge needs to put people in jail, make them pay restitution, and start there. I think to require us not to carry cash is bizarre. And if we all have to use cards, the fees are going to keep going up on cards, and it's going to be a mess. I think we need to prosecute and deter the thieves and burglars first.
I think we should definitely try that first. That's great, Sandra. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. We get out Gascon, it's possible. We repeal 47, it's possible. Dale in Long Beach. Dale, hello.
Hello, Randy. Hey, don't try to go to Knott's Berry Farm and buy a pie with cash, because they only take credit cards. Oh,
good to know. Fried chicken too, I guess.
Yeah, it's a tough decision, versus the restaurants, business, to be able to do what they want with their business versus everybody's privacy. And then I think they'll just be coming up to you with a gun and making you go to the ATM machine and wanting to rob you.
Oh, gosh. Well, that seems to be happening in places like Oakland and San Francisco for sure. Dale, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. You can always email us as well, randykabc@gmail.com. Penny writes in and says, I like the option of using cash. Some things are cheaper if you pay with cash, like gasoline. Carrie writes in and says, hey, I heard you talk about Home State. That place you go to in Sherman Oaks was forced to go cashless because they were broken into 6 times within the year they opened. By any chance, was Sherman Oaks Maria's broken into? Yes, it was. One more thing. Every time a homeless dude hits me up for cash outside of Rite Aid or Ralph's, I tell him to get one of those squares you hook up to your cell phone because I pay through everything with my card. Thank you all so much for participating in this show, listening, telling your friends about it. If you missed any episode of this show, go to kabc.com, click on podcast, go to the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify, search for the News Blitz, search for Randy Wang. You'll find the show, subscribe, download all the episodes, especially our Happy Hour Friday shows. They're always a hoot. And we've got another one coming up tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned for that as we take your phone calls and something real fun. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 for another News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC.